The international break is nearly over. Woohoo! FPL Game Week 4 is just around the corner, and we've got a wildcard draft to share and discuss. So we'll get into that in a moment, but first, welcome to FPL Armband. I'm your host, Chris. Kieran is here too. How's your international break been since last week?
Yeah, pretty chilled. I've not looked at price changes. I've not looked at my team basically at all. So yeah, enjoying it.
Yeah, no, it's been nice without time to think. I haven't even tuned in really to England. I've kind of missed their match the other night. I'm not really that interested in this evening's game. So yeah, switching off a little bit from football until FPL at the weekend. So in today's show, we're gonna unpack my wildcard draft, discuss some picks, and who I would choose if I opted to play mine this week. I've sort of just started looking at this at the beginning of the international break just because I've seen so many wildcards being played on X, and I was thinking, if I wanted to play one this week, because there's a few picks I don't really like in my team, how would it end up looking? And I thought it would just discuss it, and then it might make me feel better or worse about my team. So yeah, we're going to get into that in a moment. But just before we get into the show properly, two things to say. If you do enjoy what you're watching, please do like and subscribe, trying to help us fight that YouTube algorithm. Great reception for our last video. So if we can do something similar to that again, that would be great. Right, let's jump straight into it, and I'll talk you, because you haven't seen this, I'll talk you through some of the picks and why I would do them. Right, let me just load this up. So I kind of want to intro the draft by saying I think this team pairs well with a free hit in Game Week 6, as it includes 4 players from 2 teams, that's Liverpool and Palace, who play against each other. And in that week, I think you could do a quick hop on and hop off for expensive City assets who play Burnley, who at this moment in time have got the worst for XGC over the first 3 game weeks. So I think there's a good opportunity to avoid a tough fixture and get players from an easy fixture. And then in addition to that, I kind of like how this draft looks for bench boost in Game Week 8, with 2 bench players having home fixtures against Leeds and Everton, and the 2 away ones being against Burnley and West Ham. And then finally, I think the biggest takeaway, which definitely want to get your input on because I've seen a lot of shows or listened to a lot of content on it this week, is from the first 3 games, which I appreciate is a small sample size, is the impact of DEFCONs. So of the really quick headline stat on that, which surprised me, was on the top scoring 20 players in FPL so far, only 4 are forwards in at 4th, 7th, 12th and 20th. So I was surprised seeing that. It feels like DEFCON has been heavy, and I think I've leaned into it a little bit in this draft, but I haven't gone full DEFCON hog. I don't know what your initial thoughts on the DEFCON meta that seems to be emerging is.
I think maybe it's the sample size is small so far. Yeah. So I think the forwards and the mids are gonna get to the top of the scoring points eventually. Towards the end of the season, they'll be probably a decent 20-ish points ahead or something like that. You'd imagine, or probably more maybe. But yeah, I think so far it seems to be the way that's going. So I think you probably do need to start getting a few, if not most of them, as DEFCON defenders and mids. So yeah, it makes sense that you've gone this way. I think most people are going to do that. I'm probably I need to start doing that myself in my team. So yeah, I think it's the way to go, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the difference on the 5-3-2, let's say, or even the 4-4-2 formation and then just trying to accommodate strikers, is just the forwards in the game. They're the value comparison, basically a good defender in the game is at maximum going to cost 6 million, and that's hard to find a forward at the moment that's going to cost that much. So I think you've just got to accept that the forwards are just going to cost a lot more money and potentially not just deliver as good value. All right, so I'll run through the changes. There's only actually 10, I say only, that's 2/3, 10 changes to my actual team, which made me think, wow, I've changed quite a lot. So in goal, I'm actually prepared to keep what I had. I think Dubravka potentially offers the best 4 million option, although we're hearing, there's a report today that the Leeds first choice goalkeeper is going to be out for a while. So the Leeds backup Darlow 4 million could be an option. But yeah, I think Dubravka is still the number 1 backup goalkeeper. Sanchez and Chelsea have got the joint second best XGC after the first 3 game weeks. I don't really see any reason to change him at the moment. He's been performing well. So let's move on to the defence, just to get your thoughts on that. So I've gone for Gabriel and VVD as the two sort of premiums in there. I'd say Gabriel is not like that DEFCON friendly. He's not been close in any of the games really. He's in there for the clean sheet potential. The fact that Arsenal kept 2 really solid clean sheets against Man United and Leeds obviously bodes well, and then they were 5 minutes away and a stunning free kick away from keeping a clean sheet against Liverpool. I kind of think he's got the history, and Arsenal got the history to sort of battle the DEFCON threat, if you like. And with home games against Forest, West Ham, Crystal Palace, and then away games against Fulham, Burnley, and Sunderland between game weeks 4 and 11, I kind of think those are like all potentially cleanable games. So I think he would be well worthy of a pick even this week, with sort of City and Newcastle in 2 of the next 3. And I know we talked about him last week. Senesi at Bournemouth, he is the second most DEFCON after the 3 games. Perhaps a little bit understandable given he played Poole and Spurs away where he got 14, but he also got 14 in the home game against Wolves when they had 10 men.
Yeah.
Van Dijk surprisingly tops DEFCON for all players after 3 games. I think, do you agree? That seems like a bit of a surprise to me given like they're meant to be like a top team. I'm not quite sure how he's like cleaning up that much. Like, we know he's an X minutes monster. He's playing for like one of the, if not the best team in the league. His floor of 3 points at the moment, and I think last week's game against Arsenal showed that just by him hitting DEFCON on a clean sheet, 8 points for a clean for Van Dijk would be lovely every time. And then the final 2 positions, Lacroix I prefer just over Munoz. He's hoovering up like DEFCON 2. He's the joint 3rd most after 3 games. Cleaned in 2 tough games. Attacking return in there too, and perhaps should have got more last season. He's only 5 million compared to Munoz. 3% owned, big differential. And then finally, I think, choose your poison for the 4 million defender for me. Rodon is in there currently, but Ekdal, who plays for Burnley, and Ronaldinho, not Ronaldinho. Butchering that.
Just Ronaldo.
Ronaldo for sure. Yeah, the 4 million defenders for DEFCON. All of them are within like 5 DEFCON points of each other after 3 games. So I think it's just take your pick from the promoted players. So looking at this, it probably feels a bit template, but that's probably just determined on how these players have performed. And whilst they, have all got, none of them have got like 3 from 3 clean sheets. What do you think about like the potential backline of like a 4 at the back or even a 5 at the back moving forward?
Yeah, I like it. On Van Dijk, I think like he's probably going to start to not get it all that often. I think I think from last year, just like the numbers that were found was that he was not a DEFCON monster. Yeah. So I just don't see what has really changed for them for him to be doing so well. I think maybe it's just been just a bit of an oddity that the last 3 games have just that's happened, and I think he's probably going to start to regress a bit. I can't see him getting it against Burnley, right? So but clean sheet looks pretty obvious there, I guess. So and then one of the best teams in the league, or if not the best. So nothing wrong with him. Munoz, I'm surprised you want to get but how much in the bank do you have? Is it like a million?
A million.
Yeah,
so
okay,
he could be
Munoz
there.
Yeah, I do really like Munoz, but I'm still attracted to the attacking potential and possible of him playing in the Salah role might happen, but probably not. But so Lacroix has been he's been 1 point or 1 DEFCON off the actual points on 2 of the games. So unfortunate there, I guess, but that is the fine margins of getting. Just not getting it or getting +2 points in if a game where you don't clean sheet or something. He needs to be getting them more often than not, hopefully, than to prove worth over Munoz, I guess. Yeah. Whereas Munoz just hasn't blanked this season so far. He's had three returns, and whereas Lacroix has blanks, and so he did get a 2-pointer, whereas Munoz got like a 5-pointer in that game. So the sort of 0.5 difference, maybe that is.
Is actually good, well valued.
Yeah, possibly, but at the same time, Lacroix probably will get the 2 points most often than not. So Senesi I really like. He's obviously a really good value. And Gabriel,
it's difficult. I think backing Gabriel because he's not a DEFCON pick.
Yeah,
he's like a last season pick, but I think the fixtures are good enough to say that Arsenal are probably going to get cleans. In my opinion on the
anyway. Depends if Saliba's out for too long or not. As of now, he's a doubt. But are you tempted by Timber or Calafiori? I guess not.
Not so much. Just because when we spoke about it the other week, as soon as extra competition comes in, I feel like Arteta has got a chance to rotate those. Whereas we've seen like in previous seasons, he hasn't tended to rest his centre backs, but he's got more options at fullback on either side. And I just think it would be typical that one like banker home game, one of them would get like rested or rotated, and you would just be so irritated. So
yeah, I think
upside's not there. I agree with Gabriel compared to those two.
Yeah, I think what we've seen, to be honest, is that when he has a first 11, he just keeps the defense as it is. The only reason he swaps them, like with kind of Gabriel last season, like Kivior came in and just played all the games. Like the person who's picked just plays games. Like, and it just seems to be the only reason that he does rotate the back line is because of injury. So like Calafiori started all the games, and Skelly is coming on. The Skelly or whatever is coming on from like 70 plus sometimes, and then like that might be a good thing for Calafiori because he's got 2 13-pointers in the first two games as well. So and then Timber, like he came on for White, but White's now injured. We don't know how injured he is. Got that massive 24-pointer and then a 2-pointer, and played actually 90 minutes the next game. So maybe the back four is Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, and Calafiori, and we don't need to worry about it. And then maybe there is the option of those attacking upside because Calafiori seems to be pretty consistent so far. So I guess it's just like you say, the risk versus reward in the minutes thing.
Yeah, definitely. But you're right. From what we've seen like so far, they have been the more, let's say, attacking and adventurous. And Timber's got as much chance in the penalty area where he got most of his returns from as Gabriel to get points and was playing like in that inside channel. So I think an Arsenal defender, it seems like a good move now. Like we didn't go there basically in the game week 1 because of the difficulty of their fixtures, but the fact that they've looked so strong in the opening 3, and if they'd cleaned against Liverpool, I think it would almost be a cert that we'd be like, well, Arsenal can clean against anyone.
Yeah.
So
we've seen it before. They can. Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the midfield picks. It's so annoying because I look at this draft and and then I look back at my team and I just think I just kind of want this now. Want to move to it now, but anyway, here we go. I might still do it. Anyway, in midfield, Salah is still in there. His early season form for me is a bit like, it's a bit meh. Like he's got obviously a goal.
It's more than meh.
It's quite
big
meh. Quite meh. I like pairing him with an expensive striker, like I've done in this wildcard though, because I kind of think if Haaland does look clear after Burnley and Everton, it's a clear 2-move swap. I think Burnley fixture away looks good. I think a lot's been spoken about the Everton fixture being good at home, but like it's a derby. It's very rarely that they're going to haul in that game. So it's not like a big good fixture in my mind. But anyway, Salah's still in there at the moment. Bruno and Paqueta, we spoke about them on the show last week. Paqueta's definitely come up a lot in my invisibility, really, just because of the returns in the last 2 games. They offer similar appeal, basically.
For Brazil as well, I think.
Yeah. He's looking good at the moment. He's got more of a nailed position in that West Ham team this season. He's had like a really rough couple of seasons with that betting sort of scandal like looming over him. He's now clear of that. He's basically playing like number 10 or just behind Bowen and Fulcrook for West Ham. He's good for DEFCON. He's not going to hit it every week, but he's good. Bit like Bruno. They both have pens, maybe some set pieces. They have a little bit of open play threat. I'd say neither of them now have got like immediately good fixture runs. Bruno's pick up kind of in game week 9, whilst Paqueta's are good from game week 5, so you've basically just got to get through this game week. Paqueta from game week 5 has Crystal Palace, Everton, then the tricky one away against Arsenal, Brentford, Leeds, Newcastle, Burnley, Bournemouth. So there's some really decent fixtures in there. But what I'm kind of looking at with this draft, which I'll get on when I talk about the forwards, is you've essentially got 3 players for that to rotate for maybe the last spot. You've got Paqueta and Reinders on the bench, Thiago, and then also you've got the option to play one of your defenders. But yeah, continuing just on midfield, I've only got one more player to mention, which is Reinders. I haven't talked about Ndai yet. I'll talk about Reinders first. I think just he's a route into that City team, and they've got decent fixtures at the moment. His minutes are perhaps given a boost because of that Cherki injury, so he's likely to continue playing. He's still really good value at 5.7, and he just is as a nice rotation option in there. And Ndai, like Grealish is the form pick for sure, like 0.7 and 0.87 XGI in game weeks 2 and 3, 11 and 10 points in the last 2 games. We talked about that last week. He's still less than 7 million. They've got decent short-term fixtures. They've got Aston Villa, West Ham and Crystal Palace at home. No Europe for Everton, so he'll be good for minutes. However, I feel like Ndai is as good of a pick, really. Grealish isn't going to keep getting 2 assists per game, and his highest, like his best PL goals return is 8. Like Beto and Barry are full May, like really like not excited about them. KDH or Drewsbury Hall, he's also more of like a creator. He's not going to score many goals. So Ndai, who like should be on pens as well, is perhaps like over a longer period their best source of goal involvements. He's scored 2 goals in the last 2 games. I just think he's as good a pick as Grealish, and perhaps an even higher ceiling because he's the most likely to, score essentially. So yeah, I quite like Ndai over Grealish in that position. Also the penalty shot. What do you think of that midfield? Do you think it looks too light? I mean, it's definitely more of a DEFCON-y midfield than before, but there's a lot of penalty. There's 4 penalty takers there, and the squad itself 6 penalty takers.
Yeah, it's a shame you can't fit like a Semenyo in, but he's not a penalty taker, I suppose, but just form, and he's gone up to like 7.4 or something, isn't he now? So he is starting to get pretty expensive. So you probably couldn't be able to afford him unless you got rid of like Bruno probably. So I like it. There's nothing wrong with it. There is not that many other great mids right now. I don't think, like, especially like for a wild card, I don't think so. Yeah, especially with Sarg being out and things like that. So like it. Nailed players. Points, I think. I mean, hopefully Bruno can keep doing it and start getting some attacking returns. Maybe and then Salah starts to do something. From my point of view, hopefully he doesn't. But it looks good to me. Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
And then in the forward line, I think the forward line features 3 players on penalties for their teams in different price brackets. That was like the main thinking behind this. And I think at the start of the season, I, and maybe you as well, perhaps would have been more tempted to go for Thiago, maybe rather than Fulcrook and Strand Larsen, if that like Visser issue had been sorted.
Yeah, I think so.
Just think, the issue with the forwards, like I mentioned at the start, they're not like that good value for money. To me, playing 4-5-1 or 5-4-1 is still super boring. Like I like the idea of DEFCONs, but just looking at my team with that many more defenders is just not fun. So this draft, I think, is still mainly a 4-4-2 or a 3-4-3. So starting reverse, like I mentioned about Thiago, I think he's on pens. He's played 90 minutes times 3, no Europe for Brentford, 2 big chances and 1 big chance created in the opening 3 game weeks. So there's possible for goal and assist returns. The fixture run for them, admittedly, is not great, but he's roughly in a 4-player rotation with Paqueta, Reinders, and a defender. 1.5% ownership, nice differential. I think he's a fine pick. Mateta, I think, is far too expensive for what you get. Like, he's got good short-term to maybe medium fixtures if taking advantage of that free hit 6 idea, because he only plays one of last season's top 4 until game week 16. Obviously, that's the same for all Crystal Palace assets, and that's Arsenal away where he scored last season. But like I say, his immediate pick in the wildcard that's a good price point on penalties, good fixtures for a long time. Then finally, I think the last spot makes sense that it's a 9 million pick, Gyökeres or Watkins. I still don't think like Watkins is dead as a pick. Like, he's got 3 decent fixtures in the next 3 games, where Gyökeres has really just got this Forest game, which they're going to be benefiting from the Ange manager bounce, and then he's got City at home and Newcastle away. So I think it's important to keep an expensive striker though, because if Salah continues to not be doing it, I think it's easier to change to some sort of Isak, Haaland mid-price switch in those 2 positions. Gyökeres though plays for Arsenal, he's on penalties. It seems like a maybe an obvious move. Maybe obvious is wrong.
Yeah, on Gyökeres, I'm when I talk about my free hit team in the next video, like I looked at his numbers, like 0.00 xG versus Liverpool, 0.00 xG versus Man United. Like that's like unforgivable against United almost. Like, and then nothing at all versus Liverpool too. Like he only got 12 points in that Leeds game. Just due to a penalty at the end as well. So I don't really love seeing those numbers when you're picking a 9 million player. Watkins is probably not much better than that at the moment either. But it's the fixtures do look good, and you kind of think that I'm almost worried at the same time. It's like I don't know how much like Arsenal are going to be scoring goals when Saka's not there, and I don't know. I feel like they're maybe just going to lack a little bit of something, maybe just a bit of creativity, or just thrust up that one of those flanks. And so yeah, I'm just slightly worried about him as a pick. But I do see why you would do that on Wildcard. It just makes sense, just having a good price striker and plays for a good team. So you just kind of like benefit from whatever he does get, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I am slightly worried at the same time.
Yeah, I'm definitely a bit skeptical of Arsenal as well. Like you're right. They've lost Saka. Odegaard was out. We've got Eze and Madueke.
Yeah, true. We've got Madueke, yeah.
But they're like new though. They're like we don't know how Arsenal are going to play with them in the team. Gyökeres himself is obviously new. Is he actually any good? We don't know. Like he scored 2 goals against Leeds. I don't know. We don't know if he's like quality yet. So
yeah, apparently he's been crap for Sweden as well in the break. So yeah,
yeah, we don't know yet. But his price point, if he's not Watkins, is nice. I think for a wildcard draft.
Yeah, it makes me look at my team for this week, and I'm just like, oh my god, like my team is atrocious this week. Like, I feel like I need to play some kind of chip, but at the same time, I don't want to. But Christ, yeah.
I know it's funny. Like we're 3 game weeks in, and I look at this team and think I kind of would like this team now, and I just think, how am I 10 transfers away from that now? Yeah, it sucks, and I kind of want to hold out for the wild card, but when you see this, I just think anyway.
Yeah, if you've got the option of doing the 6 or whatever free hit to get the City players, then it probably doesn't seem an issue doing it now, to be honest. Yeah.
All right, we'll wrap up there. If you guys have got any questions about your wildcard drafts, please drop them in the comments below, and we'll respond to as many as possible. All right, thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.
All right, cheers all.
Cool. Bye bye.